Hey everybody, it's Jack Powers. I'm back with you with another episode of Infamous Federal Prisoners. Now, this is episode number 3 of Big Al Benton. And we talked about Big Al's early prison experiences in Atlanta, where he killed a man who gave information to law enforcement about him and got him sent to prison. We have looked at Big Al's leadership in the Aryan Brotherhood. We've looked at some of the other incidents that were carried out by Big Al and other members of the commission. And we've examined some of the reasons, some of the, elements of behavior. The only way that I can do this is because my own behavior, I just had to take a look at myself. I had to say, wait a minute, what are you doing? I guess I was just never a real, and I hate to use these words, but I guess I was never a real criminal. And I don't know what a real criminal is, honestly. But I think it's somebody that just keeps going, just doesn't really have any respect for life, liberty, or property of others. Their own? Yeah, you can't disrespect mine. But yours, I can disrespect it all day. I mean, that's not really the mentality because, again, a lot of these guys are very, very intelligent, very creative. They would otherwise make excellent men. And I don't know if you can factor in everything that happened during their upbringing or what have you. And I don't even know if any of it can be changed later on. Like a change of heart, it takes a lot. But people could at least understand, hey, this is a man faced with this kind of a situation in this kind of a prison, and they banded together and they created something powerful within that system, something feared by other prisoners and administrators all over the place. So early on, it was on from the beginning. It was on. So there was a lot of history, but it was all violence. And a lot of times just what I would call mindless violence. Violence that's unnecessary. Doesn't have to happen. I mean, most, if not all of it, never had to happen. Could have been finesse, could have been worked out, could have been done different ways. But, again, here's people who, they're not going in a cell and fighting it out with their fists. They're not going in hand to hand. And they're not saying to the dude, hey, go get your shank and meet me in the yard at 2 p.m. or whatever. They're not doing that either. They're doing what people would do when they want to come out ahead on it. You don't want to go up with somebody head to head in a knife fight. You might get injured, you might get killed. Why take that risk when you can just hit them with the element of surprise? Nail them when they're not looking. Get them while they're asleep. Get them while they're laying down. That's how most of the guys were killed, while they were in their cells laying down. And they were rocked to sleep And then boom, the attack came down. Suddenly, like a bolt of lightning out of the sky. Boom! Can't even imagine. You're laying there, almost asleep, arms down by your side maybe. It's count time. You're just chilling out. Maybe 7, 8 o'clock at night. And all of a sudden, boom, that quick, right into your cell. 3 or 4 of them jump on you. Boom. Attack. Knives at the ready. Just hitting you. Yeah. I mean, you fight, you struggle, you do the best you can. But a lot of people, when they're taken unaware, then they just freeze up. I've heard stories of guys just absolutely just freezing. Just seeing the knife and just their body will just lock up on them. They'll just freeze. Stand there. And get killed. But, I think you have to train your mind ahead of time not to be that afraid. Now, sometimes the body just takes over. Your knees get weak, But in that situation, when your life is at risk like that, yeah, you have to be ready to get down. I mean, you have to be ready to go in a moment's notice with everything you've got, every ounce of energy, every vicious defense you can imagine. I was in that situation a couple times where guys were looking at making a move. And I believe there was a couple times when these guys were actually strapped and ready to make their move. But I always had something between that person and myself. I'd go lean on the locker, keep the locker, and it's a little bit off the wall. So if they pull out something and try to attack, boom, I pull that locker right in front and just shove with all my might right through the doorway, like a bulldozer or whatever. I'm going out. I'm putting my shoulder down, my legs are going, I'm going out into that hallway where I've got some room to maneuver. But, I didn't go around like I was some tough guy, because I wasn't a tough guy. I was tough enough, but I wasn't any beast or anything like that. And I'm not here with this program to try to fault people that are in prison, because I spent almost 33 years of my life in a federal penitentiary. So, yeah, I'm not going to fault those people. I'm not going to take sides. I keep a lot of security. We have a dog, we have cameras, we have, little stuff that, of course, you can't have any real security. You can't have a firearm or anything like that. Or even pepper spray. When you're, on supervised release, you can't do any of that. So, but you can have a hammer. You can have, a steak knife. There's all kinds of things that you can defend yourself with. But Big Al Benton, here's what I think happened with Big Al. Big Al got into a situation, I don't think for a second, let me just be the one to break this news. I don't think for a second that the TD and the Baron ordered any kind of a war on the DC blacks by writing on paper with piss or whatever. That technique is so old. For the Bureau of Prisons to say we didn't know anything about that back in 1997. What? Really? What kind of security do you have there? ADX, supposed to be the top security, most security of any prison in the world, perhaps. And they don't know about that? Nah. There was no letter sent like that. Nah. Doubt it. Seriously doubt it. That was made up. Here's what I think happened. I think Big Al got into debt or some kind of crosswise with the DC blacks. They control the heroin trade, a good portion of it. And, AB sometimes worked with them or were close to them. Or at least had some kind of business arrangement with them. So I think probably what happened was Big Al got in deep and needed a way out. I think that a set of factors converged, a set of circumstances where he was just tired of the same old, same old. He had done umpteen number of years in the same grind, same routine, day after day. And when you're a guy of his stature, then, you're looking or feeling the stress of somebody trying you or somebody coming at you a certain way, unexpectedly or whatever. You always, because, you yourself have done those kind of things. So you're looking at it and you're thinking about it, and it's a little bit of pressure, maybe subconsciously, but there's pressure there. And so maybe he owed the guy, maybe the guy owed him. I'll bet you it was a drug deal gone bad. Bet anything. All right. You're not going to pay. We got to do it this way. We have to. Now, what makes me think that it was on Big Al's side is the fact that they made the plan to attack the DC blacks. And I think that was a preemptive kind of a strike. I think they started fearing that the DC blacks were going to attack them. And, or, for the same reasons. So I think that's what happened. I think the DC blacks were, I think Al Benton and his crew were thinking that the DC blacks were going to attack them. So they went and got them. They just made a plan, went and got their shit, their shanks, got ready and went, and did it, pulled off the deal, right? But I think Big Al had this other plan in place as well. I think he went ahead and did that. And then maybe in the very after time of that event, when he was in his cell alone, I think he had some hours probably just to think about what had happened, what he had done. And I think he just thought, man, I'm sick and tired of this. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to get out of this. And he just decided to flip. He decided to roll. He had seen so many other people roll and go into the program that was his time to play that card. It was obviously that time because he played it, right? So, yeah, I think he just, now when I was over at another place in upstate New York, he was, I think, I'm not positive, but I think he was actually being housed there because they had somebody in the shoe, way down on the bottom floor of the shoe between, I want to say, the gym and the shoe corridors. They had somebody in the back there anyway with a camera set up in front of the cell. When we would go past, that little flap would be locked. Everything, the window on the door would be closed. You couldn't see in or out. And I think from scuttlebutt that was him being held there. I think they held him there for quite a while and just switched him between cells. So I don't know if he ever did actually go into the program, because people would have been afraid, like administrators would have been concerned anyway, that he was doing this as a Trojan horse, basically to go ahead and get in the WITSEC program and then be able to get access to all these other guys that enrolled over the years, right? So they would be very concerned about that, and I think very hesitant to actually put him in. But I did hear that he got out. So I don't know how true that is, because they're not going to have him on the locator service. His name won't come up. But, I'll tell you one more thing about Big Al that most people don't know. Big Al is a brilliant, brilliant artist of seascapes. He paints the most perfectly artistic seascapes you can even imagine. I would say that his artwork is worth a lot of money. His artwork is it's second to none. When it comes to seascapes, he does other stuff too, but seascapes is his specialty. Very, very, very great artist. And, wherever he is, I wish him well. I hope that everyone just tries a little bit harder to become a little better at being human every day. That way, little by little, we don't have to change overnight. Can't change overnight. It's little by little in a consistent and disciplined way. And that's why I created the manual program. Manual program for personal growth and development. It works. It really works. And my book, ADX Supermax, please buy it, or buy both of them. I thank you. I recognize the great goodness in all of you, and I'll see you again soon. It's been an episode of Infamous Federal Prisoners with Jack Powers. Please subscribe now.